Imagine the deafening roar of 100,000-strong Wembley Stadium. Your team has won, and you head down into the bright, safe subway. You feel completely at home, exactly 1 second before your world shatters forever. A screech of brakes, a flash of sparks, and the lights go out. You open your eyes in pitch darkness. Instead of a clean car, there is freezing, liquid clay, and millions of hungry rats swarming right at your face. Welcome to the underground hell of London, 1862. The world's first subway is being built here. Every single second, laborers risk burning alive in a cloud of methane or drowning in a black torrent of city sewage. There is no room for heroism here, only primal fear. How many minutes can you last before this earth takes you forever? Picture a perfect, comfortable evening for a modern guy. You're heading home after a thrilling football match at Wembley Stadium. You're wearing a bright, clean, red and white Arsenal jersey. Your team won. You're buzzing with energy, but dead tired. You head down into the London Underground, step into a clean, brightly lit train car, lean your head against the polished metal handrail, and close your eyes to the rhythmic, soothing clatter of the wheels. Your phone is vibrating in your pocket with hundreds of notifications. You're home. You're completely safe. But on the next stretch of track, the car suddenly jerks with a violent screech. Passengers look around, annoyed. Outside the window, a blinding, furious shower of orange sparks flies past. The lights in the car flicker out for a second. Suddenly, a sharp, suffocating stench hits your nose. The smell of acrid smoke, burning rubber, and something stagnant like an open swamp. A wave of heat slaps your face. You snap your eyes open, ready to complain, but the shout catches in your throat. The bright fluorescent lights are gone. The clean seats, gone too. You're lying on your back on a pile of rotten, damp straw. Around you is a pitch-black, suffocating darkness, barely pierced by a faint, flickering yellow flame somewhere in the distance. You try to push yourself up, but your hands sink wrist-deep into cold, sticky, liquid clay. In a panic, you look down at yourself. Your brand-new, expensive Arsenal jersey is ripped across the chest and covered in a thick layer of greasy, pitch-black soot and some foul-smelling brown muck. Freezing water drips onto your face from above. You look up. Directly above you is a low, semicircular arch made of damp, darkened brick. Above that, through layers of earth, you can hear a dull, muffled rumble, horses neighing, iron wheels clattering on cobblestones, and the distant shouts of street vendors. It's London, but it's not your London. Out of the darkness, barely 2 feet from your face, comes a sickening, high-pitched squeak. In the faint reflection of the flame, the wet, bloated body of a massive rat darts by. It stares at you for a split second with its beady eyes before vanishing into the mud. Before you can even scream in terror and confusion, a massive human shadow towers over you. A man's face emerges from the gloom. It's pitch black, looking like it's covered in boot polish from the deeply embedded coal dust. All you can see are the whites of his eyes and his white teeth. He's wearing a filthy flat cap and a soaked wool vest. He looks at your stained sports jersey like it's the rag of a madman, then violently drives a heavy, rusted iron pickaxe into the ground right between your legs. "Get up, greenhorn," he growls, spitting out black saliva. "Stop slacking off. The Fleet River isn't going to tame itself." Welcome to June 1862. You are at the construction site of the world's first underground railway. And right now, you're about to find out the real price of human progress. History textbooks love to paint Victorian London as the capital of the world, a hub of science, industrialization, and refined manners. But reality smelled completely different. By the mid-19th century, London was literally choking. The city was paralyzed by horrific traffic. Thousands of horse-drawn cabs, omnibuses, heavy wagons, and millions of tons of horse manure and urine turned the streets into an impassable sludge. The stench and the congestion made getting around the city a nightmare. And that's when engineers had a wild, audacious idea: hide the trains underground. The world had never seen anything like it. It sounded like pure science fiction. But there was one massive problem. In 1860, humanity didn't yet know how to tunnel deep beneath huge cities the way modern tunnel boring machines do. They didn't have the tech to tunnel under building foundations without collapsing them. So, the project's chief engineer, John Fowler, used a method that went down in history as cut and cover. Or, to put it simply, the open trench method. What did that mean for the locals? The engineers basically took a map of London, drew a line for the future subway right through vibrant, bustling neighborhoods, and started digging from the top down. The city's key transit arteries were brutally slashed in half. Right in the middle of the streets, they dug a massive trench up to 30 feet deep and as wide as a multi-lane highway. Imagine if Broadway in New York or Michigan Avenue in Chicago was just ripped open by excavators for miles, turned into a gaping canyon. Traffic ground to a halt for 3 years. But gridlock was the least of their worries. The foundations of the massive brick Victorian buildings lining this trench began to shift and crack. The walls of residential homes sagged, and facades crumbled right before the eyes of terrified residents. To carve out this trench, the British government ruthlessly demolished entire blocks. Naturally, they didn't touch the wealthy neighborhoods. They targeted the rookeries, the poorest Victorian slums where people lived practically on top of each other. Thousands of destitute families, Irish immigrants, and laborers were forcibly evicted. Their homes were turned into construction debris without a single penny of compensation. Progress marched right over the backs of those who couldn't fight back. Once the trench was dug, workers manually built massive, heavy arches and vaults at the bottom using millions of red bricks. It formed a sort of brick box. Then this box was covered back up with soil. The cobblestones were relaid, and the street was restored. The train was effectively entombed underground. But while people walking above saw a grand triumph of engineering, for the men at the bottom of that trench, it was a living, relentless hell.